This may be your first introduction to the Micah Miller story, but I can guarantee you that you will be seeing this story everywhere over the next coming days, because this story, it has so many layers to it. And as I peel back one layer, there's another layer, and then there's another layer. And man, oh man, there's just so much for me to lay out for you all when it comes to this case. But let's get to the basics. Micah Miller was killed or found dead on April 27th. She died on April 27th. Let's just say that. Now, at first, it was believed that it was a self-inflicted wound. However, now there's a further investigation into the situation, because let's just say that her husband is a kind of shady fellow, to say the least. You see, her husband is a pastor in South Carolina. And hours after she died, he gave this weird, creepy sermon where he doesn't even acknowledge that his wife just died. He's on stage telling jokes, talking about how handsome he is. And then right when church is about to end, he kind of just lets everyone know, hey, my wife just died. You might not be seeing me for a while. I posted the video already on my channel, so you can go check it out. It's really creepy. But it turns out that just a few days before Micah turned up dead, she had filed for divorce from her husband. And she also filed a no contact order because allegedly, from what she told family, he was stalking her, harassing her. He was aggressive towards her. He slashed her tires. And she claims that she would never hurt herself. That's what she told her family. But she said that she was fearful for her life. Well, now she's no longer with us. And we don't really know what happened yet. But the internet seems to believe that the husband killed her. Now, when I look at this story and I look at his sermon and I look at all of the shady details surrounding her death, I'll admit, it looks like the husband may be involved. But I don't want to jump the gun and just blame this guy for this situation too quickly, even though all signs are kind of pointing towards him. But allegedly, Micah was also suffering from issues of her own. I mean, her husband, I guess he's not someone who we really trust, but he claimed that she was suffering from mental health issues and she couldn't get her medicine and all of this other stuff. But as I look into the story and as I look into Micah, I can tell that she was definitely, I don't want to say a troubled woman. She seems like a very, very, very sweet person. But you could tell that she was going through troubling times. Let's just say that. So as I'm watching some of the videos she's putting out, I'm questioning, is it possible, would she be capable of doing this to herself? Or is her husband or someone else to blame? Now, one thing about Micah, she seems to be a very religious person. She's very passionate about her religion. Now, we know, like, the number one sin is to self-delete yourself. That's like the worst thing you could possibly do. You know, in God's eyes, supposedly, at least according to her religion, maybe not according to yours, but according to her beliefs, self-deletion, ending yourself, ending your life, is like the worst thing you could do. So because she's so religious, it makes me lean towards not believing that she would do this to herself. But also, in a weird way, because she's so religious, I'm wondering if some of the pressure from her getting a divorce, for one, that's not, with someone who has religious, how can I put it? I know these days people get divorced left and right and people think nothing of it. A lot of people who are really religious, they frown upon that. And I'm wondering if there were pressures from her church, her community, or something that was weighing too heavy on her and she couldn't take it. And I'm not trying to sit here and say that I think that's what happened. I'm just trying to explore the possibilities. But before I go any further with that, I want to roll this clip really quickly so you can have a better understanding of who this woman is and what she believes. And then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
Hey everybody, I just want to let you know that I'm alive and well, and life's been kind of crazy the couple past weeks, months, years, but I've kind of had to keep my circle really small for the past couple weeks just because I'm going through a lot and it's hard and it's my cross to bear. It's the thing that God has put in my life to deal with, and I don't want to bring a lot of people into it. I'm so thankful to God for a strong family and the friends that God has put in my life to be there for me at this time. I just wanted to share that my heart and my prayer is that the church would stay strong, that y'all would stick together, because the church is God's people. It's not a man, it's not a person, it's not me, it's God's people, the bride of Christ. And there's a lot of really good people in the church that that I just hope would continue on, press toward the calling, run your race, stay encouraged, stay in your word, keep worshiping. Like I can't wait to worship again with everybody, but for now I'm just worshiping with me and Jesus to God, and I don't think God would be pleased with me if I just jumped right into missions and women's events and creative directing and worship leading and stuff. I think when your world is shook up, you need to take a pause. And I can only pray that more people will take a pause and I'm trying to get my priorities straight right now. And that's making sure that my heart doesn't have any unforgiveness, bitterness, resentment, just forgiveness and hope for the future and peace. Because you can't put a price on peace from God. So thank you for all your prayers and support. Know that I have to keep my circle really, really small right now. I'm used to having a really big circle, so it's hard because I want to reach out to everybody and tell you how much I love you and I miss you. But this is the best way that I know how. So I love you all. I miss you. Thank you for your love and support over the last couple years. And some of you, up to 18 years walking with me as my friends. And for right now, I've just had to put everything on pause to get myself right. And I think God's happy with that. So keep praying for me. Thank you. And I love you. I'll be praying for you. God bless you. Bye.
Now, I hope that clip gave you all a little bit of a better understanding of what I was trying to say before I rolled the clip. What I'm saying here is, it seems as if she's kind of been excommunicated from this community that she's been a part of for a long time. You know, these churches often give you this sense of community. People often view members of their church like family. Now, mind you, she's married to the pastor, one of the most powerful figures in the church. And these people look up to him almost like he's godlike, like he can do no wrong. So whenever she has something negative to say about him, or the fact that she's going through a negative situation with him, she's not going to get support from a lot of these people. I can guarantee you, I don't know this for sure, but I know how these things go. I can guarantee you there are people in that church that she considered family, that she probably considered best friends, that probably turned their back on her once she started voicing her problems with her husband. And I can guarantee you that once that church found out that she's trying to get a divorce, they probably excommunicated her. And she's talking about how her circle is small. So hearing all of this, I just wonder if the pressures of going through this divorce, if the pressures of losing the community and family that you thought you had for so long just weighed up on her, to the point that it was too much. But even though I view that as a possibility, I don't necessarily think that's what happened. No, I think that there may be something shady here. I can't sit here and tell you for a fact that something shady happened because I don't know for a fact. But I do think there's a strong possibility. Because she had spoken out in the past about some of the stuff that she endured in this relationship with her husband. And I feel like women like this who are really passionate about their religion, and it's not just women, people in general, let's put it like that. I feel like people in general who are really passionate, and really religious, I think often they're easy to take advantage of for certain predators that will kind of use religion to kind of get close to you. And ladies out there, I can tell you right now, there's a lot of creepy dudes out here that will find whatever avenue they can into your pants. And if it means pretending to be religious and pretending to love God and Jesus, they'll be as religious as you want them to be, as long as you let them get what they want out of you, okay? So I do think that she was a vulnerable person that was taken advantage of by someone that used religion to prey on her. That's what I think may have happened here. And I also think it's probably happening to other people at that church. And even if it's not happening at that church, it's happening at churches all across the world. So you got to be careful. There's nothing wrong with being religious. There's nothing wrong with having your beliefs. Just beware of false idols. And understand that a lot of evil, dark, dirty people use religion as a shield. Okay, they get into the religion, they get into the Christian church or in that church or that church, to try to use that as a shield from all of their wrongdoings. But anyways, as I said, Micah had recently spoken out about some of the stuff that she went through. And from what she's saying, it seems like she was, not treated very well. Let's just put it like that. I'm going to go ahead and roll another clip really quickly so you can hear from her own mouth what she has to say, and then I'll be right back once again.
So today my heart's a little heavy. I've had a lot of women that have reached out to me about situations of abuse, and I just want to tell you what a lot of people have told me lately and reminded me, because I think I forgot. I knew, but I pushed it in the back of my head just because of my situation. But you are the bride of Christ. Before anybody else's bride, male or female, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Abuse is abuse. And you are the bride of Christ. And my Bible says that he took all the abuse you could think of for you so that you didn't have to live that life of slavery and bondage and pain. Jesus took it all for you. So you don't have to stay in a abusive relationship, whether that's sexual, whether that's somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs, or alcohol abuse, or physical abuse, psychological abuse, making you think that this is all your fault, or you're a bad mom, or you're a bad wife, or you're a bad husband, or you're not giving it your all when you know you are. God hates divorce, but why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that? So, I want to remind you, like a bunch of people have been reminding me lately, that I'm God's bride first. And even an earthly spouse who's a good spouse, when they know that their bride is being hurt, just imagine what an earthly spouse does. What do you think your heavenly spouse does when you're the bride of Christ and he sees his bride going through abuse and hurt? What do you think he thinks about that? So, encouragement in all this is you are the bride of Christ first before anybody else's. And he's got you. And he sees you. And he loves you.
Now that you've seen it for yourself, you can hear how she's talking about getting this divorce, and you can tell that she's guilty, almost as if this is an act that will defy God, almost as if she is going against her religion. You can tell that even though she knows it's a right thing to separate herself from this man, she's struggling to do so. Not because of her ties to him, but because of her ties to God and her religion. And ladies, or even fellas, let me just say this. If you ever feel like you're put in this position, never hesitate to leave. If you feel like your significant other is a danger to your health, never hesitate to leave. Don't let God, don't let church, whatever your beliefs may be, keep you in that place where you are in danger, where you could wind up like this woman. And that's regardless if she did it herself or if someone else did. So, regardless of what happened to Micah on April 27th, we know that there's claims from her that her husband was not the nicest of guys, that her husband was dangerous, that she was scared of her husband. Now, I know that people are ready to get their torches and their pitchforks, and they're ready to go after the pastor, John Paul Miller. I know that people are ready to do that. But when I look at this situation, I see multiple possibilities. I'm leaning towards him having something to do with this. But even if he didn't pull the trigger, even if he didn't have someone else pull the trigger, I think one of two things happened here. Either what everyone believes, that Micah was actually killed and did not end herself, or I believe that Micah was driven to a point, largely due to things that went on in that church, was driven to a point where she kind of felt like her back was against the wall, like she had nobody. Even her religious buddies, her church sisters, people she had known and grown up with all her life, some of them were turning their back. And a lot of them were ignoring the issues. And don't think that I'm just speaking out of the side of my neck here, because what I will show you in future videos is that other church members are now speaking out. They're speaking out, apologizing for ignoring some of the problems that were happening right in front of their face when it comes to this pastor and when it comes to Micah. But those are details that we will cover in another video. For now, I want you all to process this information. Let me know what you feel about it down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, and I'll talk to you all more about this case very soon in the next one.